Hey everyone, this is Mike, and today is going to be the Samurai rotation video. Now, if you've played Samurai in the past back in Shadowbringers, then a lot of things I'm going to be talking about are going to feel very familiar to you, with a few exceptions, because now our Meiko Shisui as well as our Tsubame Gaishi have 2 stacks on them. Meiko now also applies our buffs, and we also have a new skill, Ogi Namakiri, which will change our rotation a little bit. So instead of having just a more streamlined 1-minute rotation, the rotation is now going to be 2 minutes long instead. So let's just get right into it. Because our Meiko Shisui now applies our buffs, we're going to be using that pre-pull so that we can have our buffs up as fast as possible. Then we go into a double Midare to also get our Tsubame Gaishi on cooldown, use our Sene, get our dot going as well, and then we're also going to be using our Ogi Namakiri. Now our meditate stacks are going to be functioning a little bit different. They are going to be obtained by using an Iai Jutsu or by using Ogi Namakiri. They're not going to be obtained anymore from using our Tsubame Gaishi. So that's something to keep in mind. Now luckily enough it does line up so that we can have 1 Shoha usage per burst window as well. There's 1 Shoha that falls outside of the burst, but outside of that they're all going to be inside of your burst window, so it all aligns up really nicely. Now in terms of the filler combo, which we used to do back in Shadowbringers so that we could keep our rotation on a clean loop, that is also still going to be a thing, but we do have to keep in mind that Ogi Namakiri is now 2 GCDs that we otherwise would not have. So in my case, because I need to do a 2 GCD filler with my skill speed, Ogi Namakiri is going to be my filler combo, or at least after our 2-minute burst window. So here we have our second burst. We started with a Midare, then we use of course Tsubame immediately as well, use our dot again as well, and then our Shoha in there as well, because we need to use our Shoha between our Midare as well as reapplying our dot, because otherwise we're going to be overcapping our meditate gauge, and we don't want to do that. Now because I need 1 filler, there we go, that's going to be my filler combo. But yeah, so going back to our filler itself, because after each 2 minutes we have those 2 extra GCDs from Ogi Namakiri in there, and we don't have that after our 1-minute burst window, because Ogi Namakiri is tied to Iki Shoten, and Iki Shoten is a 2-minute buff. So after our 2 minutes, I personally don't need to do a filler combo because I only need a 2 GCD filler, but because we don't have Ogi Namakiri during the 1-minute burst window, I do need to use a 1-2 combo there as a filler combo to basically keep my rotation on track. Now over here you can see that we're going to go into our 2-minute burst window. The thing that's very important for this one is that we save a lot of gauge for it, because we need 3 Kaitens as well as our Sene, which is going to be 85 gauge in total, I believe, because we have 60 from the 3 Kaitens, and then we have 25 from the Sene as well. So you need to have a lot of gauge ready for this burst. Now if you end up spending too much gauge on, for example, a Shinten too many, then you can do 1 or 2 extra GCDs by using our Meiko Shisui to get enough gauge for that last Kaiten to use on our Ogi Namakiri, because we do want to use Kaiten on Ogi Namakiri as well, which is why that's going to be very important. I'm never going to do it in the rotation that you're going to be seeing, because I always made sure to save enough gauge for it, but if you don't have enough gauge and you realize that you don't have enough for the Kaiten, then you can always just add in 1 or 2 extra GCDs to make sure you get that 20 gauge. So that you can use it on your Ogi Namakiri. So here we're going to go into our 1-minute burst again. So we have our Midare ready. We use double Midare, we use our Shoha, make your Shisui, get ourselves 1 Sen back to use on Higanbana, and then we can just finish it off with 1 more Midare towards the end. And that is pretty much really going to be it for the Samurai rotation. It's fairly straightforward. We're not going to be saving any buffs for our 2-minute burst window specifically. We're just going to be using Make Your Shisui as well as Tsubame Gaishi every single minute. We're not pulling it towards the 2-minute buff window because we already have so much other stuff to press during the 2-minute burst that is really not going to be necessary. So it feels a lot like the old Samurai once you're through the opener. A lot of things just flow as they're supposed to. And there's not really anything special that you have to pay attention to. Just make sure that for every 2-minute burst window you build up enough Genki gauge, as you'll see me do right here, so that you can smoothly go into your 2-minute burst window to use all of those Kaitens, as well as use that Sene in there as well. As you can see, 90 gauge, plenty of gauge for me to make use of. Double Midare, Sene, gonna be reapplying our dot. Then we're going to be using our Ogi Namakiri. Then we have enough meditate stacks to use Shoha, and then we just spend the rest of our Meikyo stacks, and then we finish off our burst window with one more Midare. Also, because of the change to Meikyo Shisui, we're now always going to be able to use that on our good GCDs, like we want to avoid using it on Yukikaze as much as possible, and we only make use of the Yukikaze inside of the opener. Outside of that, we don't need to make use of that anymore, because it always lines up so nicely that we can use it on our geckos and our kashas, which is going to be the most valuable to use our Meikyo on anyways. So it all lines up really nicely, and it just flows together really well. So I'll just let you see one more burst window on Samurai, which is going to be our 1 minute burst, and then we'll call it right there. So getting ready for our 1 minute burst, getting that Midare, Kaiten, double Midare, make sure that we spend that meditate stack, make your Shisui, get 1 send back, apply our Higambana, then do 2 more GCDs to get rid of our Meikyo stacks, and then of course we have our Yukikaze that we need to get back, and then we can finish it off with 1 more Midare. And that's pretty much going to do it for the Samurai rotation. So if you have any more questions, then feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll definitely get back to you. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, I want to thank my Patreons for their support, and I'll see you in the next one.